they are not built for doing it quickly, or it's just not natural to them. And those people still deserve online success in their business. And so how can I just make this easier for them and do something that comes super naturally to me, that I'm able to do very well, and then just share those things with them so that they can get the result faster. And that's when I started talking about high level to the people that I was working with. That was, several years ago now. And from there, it's only grown.
Hey, 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 what's up, everyone? Kelsey here with another episode of High Levels Affiliate Insider, where we show you how to unlock your untapped affiliate potential. Today, I have with me Allie Bloyd. She's a renowned speaker and entrepreneur. Allie works with small businesses and entrepreneurs alike to start and scale and capture people's attention. Welcome to the show, Allie.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. I think the first time I met you was at, I want to say, Traffic and Conversion Summit. And I was super stoked because you were speaking as you always do. And I got to leave the setup that we had to go watch you speak. And I was like, this lady just knows everything. Super confident. You knew high level, you were in the marketing space. So I'm actually really, really, really stoked to have this talk with you today.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've been lucky enough to get to connect and hang out at other conferences. It's been so good to get to know you and the high level team. I mean, that is definitely something that I can't stress enough, is how amazing the high level team in particular really is, not just in what they do, but as people. So great people to have fun and hang out with, on top of, getting the support and the direction that you guys always provide.
Awesome. Well, I definitely want to ask you about how you found high level later. But before we dive into some of that, I kind of wanted to talk about just digital marketing in general, because you're very
Yeah.
well known in, I would say, like in a personal branding, in a Facebook, in an Instagram, and just like an advertising space in general. Can you kind of tell us how you got into all of this?
Yeah, definitely. So, I'll try and keep it as succinct as possible, but ultimately after I graduated from high school, I thought I was going to go into the medical field. I thought I was going to be like a doctor or nurse practitioner or something like that. And so that's what I started out doing in college. I had a friend whose mom had breast cancer, and I spent some time in the hospital during that. And I realized right away that this was absolutely not the field for me. I knew that it was just not going to be good for me personally, emotionally, that I would not thrive in that environment. And so I decided to take a semester off of college and really just figure out what I wanted to do. So during that time, I had several dogs. I had like pit bulls and American bullies. And I thought I would love to create a dog clothing brand for large breed dogs, and like things that are not stupid and like I'm a little princess, like things that I would actually put my dogs in. And there was nothing I'd ever seen that I was willing to do that with. So that was like my first idea that really sparked my interest in a lot of things. So as I started to try and build this business, I was like, okay, you're going to need to learn graphic design. So I bought a graphic design program. I started teaching myself how to do it. Okay, you're going to have to learn how to build a website. You're going to need to learn how to do social media marketing and, figure out how to sell things online. So that really was that prompting that I needed to dive into some of those things. And up until that point, I considered myself a very non-techie person at all. This was my first real experience using a lot of these different computer programs. I had done like Word docs. That was like the extent of my technical knowledge up until that point. So as I started going into it, I really just fell in love with it. And I realized that it was a perfect combination of my natural creativity. I've been a writer since I was like 5 years old. I mean, I've been writing my whole life. And so doing like plays on words and taglines and all these different things, they were just things that I liked to do for fun. And so being able to take the creative side and the writing side, merge them together, I just found a passion. And so I decided to completely pivot. I went back to school for graphic design and marketing. I learned how to code websites and, use all of the Adobe products and, got a really great foundational knowledge of all things marketing, branding, and design. And while I was in school, I knew that I wanted to have my own agency. At the time, I thought it would be like a graphic design agency, a creative agency. And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I ended up getting an internship while I was still in school that was required at a small publishing company that did trade magazines for local businesses. So I started to do the layout and do the writing and creating ads and doing the website and social and all that stuff. And then my boss at the time was like, hey, we're launching a new magazine. Do you want to help sell? Do you want to try and sell? I had zero sales experience, didn't think I wanted anything to do with it, but he's like, hey, the money's pretty good. If you decide you don't want to do it, you can just stop doing it. So that was my first experience in sales. And I sold a lot. I used LinkedIn to sell a lot. I did cold calls and sold through cold calls, and really just learned a lot of the same sales and marketing strategies that I still use today, on top of getting to build a magazine from ground zero. It was, again, another thing that just solidified for me that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that I loved building something and having my effort directly impact the results of the business. So ultimately, I did end up leaving that business for a couple of different reasons. It was actually a pretty hard decision for me because I was so involved in that magazine. I was very sad to step away, but it was the right decision for me at the time. And then from there, I ended up getting a marketing director position at a roofing and restoration company. Then I got a marketing director position at a large local kitchen and bath and remodeling business. And so I was in that business for about 5 years. So that experience was so great for me because I had an awesome boss at the time who was really a mentor to me. He was a very data focused, a very savvy businessman. So he took me under his wing and really taught me a lot, not just about some of the marketing stuff, but about just running a business as a whole. I was doing TV buying and radio buying, and I was kind of in charge of everything. So I learned Google Analytics, and I learned SEO, and I learned organic social and email marketing, and just everything. It was like just me at the time. Then I ended up bringing 2 other people on to help in the marketing department, and I started to get really great traction with organic Facebook. Then it is the time when things shifted to where organic became really, really difficult. So we'd built up like 36,000 Facebook followers, and this was for a local business. So that was quite a bit. And we were getting great reach initially, and then they kind of changed the algorithm. Things really halted in the reach. So all these people that we had built up, we could no longer even communicate with them directly. We were reaching about 10% of the organic audience at best. So then I started to say, okay, we know this platform works for us. It's been working for us, but now it looks like we're going to have to dive into paid. And so I need to learn paid advertising. So I bought a course on Facebook ads. I started to implement. But what I really realized in researching that was there was nobody that had a Facebook ads course for local businesses. It was all for e-commerce businesses or coaches and things of that nature. And so I did try and find one, couldn't find one. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take the information and I'm going to apply it to our business and the way that this runs. And I'm going to figure out how to make it work best for the local side. So that's what I did. I really just did a lot of testing, a lot of trying to take these concepts from e-commerce and from, coaching and course creators and apply them to the local business space. And it worked really well. One huge thing that I saw in my experience with that, so I was generating leads, getting booked appointments for our kitchen and bath design consultations to try and sell these kitchen and baths, was that there was a huge disconnect between sales and marketing. I had already seen that in some of my previous positions, but it was never more clear than when I really started getting things ramped up there because so many leads were slipping through the cracks. These salespeople, which were technically salespeople because they were commissioned based, but they were not salespeople. They were kitchen and bath designers. Like that's how they saw themselves, not as a salesperson. And they were not following up with leads. They were not communicating with the people who were booking appointments. There was just a lot that was not being done. And I was getting these messages and these emails from our leads saying like, hey, I'm trying to schedule an appointment, but nobody will answer the phone, or nobody will get back to me, or, is this my time? I needed to get it rescheduled, but nobody was communicating with me. So I said, okay, if I'm being judged on my results financially for the business, because that is how my boss was evaluating my performance, was not just, oh, we reached this many people, we wanted to focus on the actual KPIs that mattered for the business. I knew that I had to fix that, because it doesn't matter how great your ads are doing. It doesn't matter how many leads or booking requests you're getting. If those people are not coming in, showing up, being followed up with, being communicated with, they're not going to close. And so you're not going to be able to maximize what you're spending. So at that point, I really tried to develop a start to finish process that eliminated human beings as much as possible, because I knew that if I can eliminate the need for these individuals, and a variety of individuals at the time, to do all these different steps, I'm going to get a lot better results. So I was using, 7 to 10 programs at the time. I was using Zapier to connect all of them, and really just trying to figure it out as I went. So I did get a system that was working pretty well, but I had these other people I'd hired in the marketing department. I learned very quickly, it is not easy to teach them this system that I have built. If anything broke, it was very hard for them to identify where the problem was and how to fix it. I, really quickly become a pretty technical person, and I could figure out programs relatively quickly. And so I'm like, I know that there's got to be an easier way for this. But at the time, the system was what the system was, and I tried to make it as easy as humanly possible, but there were still some challenges with that. I developed several different strategies in that time that I still use to this day. In, I guess, 2018, I decided to start my own business. My boss at the time knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that I wanted to start my own business. So it was no surprise to him. But I said, look, if I don't start this business, I'm never going to be happy. Like, I am going to forever know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I would still love to work with you, but this is what I'm doing. And I'd love to, be able to continue our relationship as a client relationship. So there was definitely, some back and forth and some negotiations, but I was able to transition my employer to a client, and I kept my same salary that I had at the time, which at the time was like the most money I'd ever made as, an early 20 something, but like looking back, it was hardly anything. However, it was really great to be able to keep that, because it gave me the freedom to be able to go full time in my business without worrying that I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills. I had a young daughter at home. She was, I think, less than 1 year old. And I really wanted to spend more time with her. So that was a huge motivation. I was commuting for like an hour and a half every day. And it was really eating into the time that I was able to spend with my family. So I was excited to do it. Even before I went full-time in my business, I started networking and doing organic as hard as I could. I was utilizing Facebook groups. I was answering people's questions. I was talking about the strategies that were working for me. I was making sure to start friend requesting people that were in the industries that I was working in, which at the time I was very focused on home improvement, real estate space, because that is where so much of my experience had been at that point. And then I was able to start getting clients pretty quickly. I started to see my next challenge was, number one, getting our clients to follow up with their leads. That disconnect with the marketing and sales process, which we'll talk more about. And I really just needed to systemize my own business and kind of replicate myself, because whatever I did, hiring people to help me in my business still I was not getting what I needed in terms of quality and attention to detail, in terms of, anything that we would do. I could have a template, I could have whatever it is, but they were still building out a system every single time we signed on a new client. And I was having to go through every single thing with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it was set up based on the templates and based on the things that we had already built. So my business has evolved so much since then, but that's really kind of how I got into this field, and the transition of my career from employee to entrepreneur. And then we can talk, more about how things have changed and where high level kind of fit into that at the time. That's kind of bringing you up to at least the entrepreneur side of my life, and it's been a great ride ever since.
I love it. I think that a lot of people who have full-time jobs that are super, super interested in the entrepreneur side always have this question, like, when is the right time to go? And from what it sounds like, is like, Allie, like writing was on the wall. It was time. You took the time to feel super confident. But, and I just want to make sure I reiterate what you were saying here is it didn't mean that that day was the day that you actually started, because before you were making tons of networking stuff. You were already learning, you're already talking to people. I think that there's always, I think sometimes when people are in full-time jobs and they're like, how many hours do I have to dedicate each day in order to finally make the transition? And it's like, I think it's different for everybody. It's
It
totally
is,
different. And
but I'll be honest, I worked really hard. I mean,
yeah,
I was working a full-time job, and then I was coming home and I was spending time with my family and putting my daughter to bed. And as soon as she went to bed, I was working on my business, sometimes until 2 o'clock in the morning. I was working any hours I could on the weekend when I wasn't with my family. And I knew that I was doing it for a reason. I knew it wasn't always going to be like that. And I was working these hard hours now so that I did not have to do it in the future, so that I would have the freedom and flexibility that I wanted. So, a lot of people can say that it's so easy and, whatever, but I like to be honest. Was it easy in terms of, it's a lot easier to do what I did to get where I am now than it would have been to stay where I was, because I would have been miserable, even with like a decent job. I really knew that it was time when I was like laying on the couch, just watching a movie with my husband one night, and I'm just crying. And he's like, "What's going on? Why are you crying?" And I said, "I don't own a business yet." And I was so committed to, this is what I know I should be doing. And just the simple fact that I didn't feel like I was living what I needed to live personally to fulfill whatever my dreams were, it made me so unsettled that I could not do anything at that point. So from that day on, I was like, okay, whatever I have to do to move forward, I'm going to move forward. And I actually started a course first. Like when I was still working at my job, I decided, I was like, well, hey, I know I want to bring on a lot of clients. I probably won't have time for a course once I do that. So I should just do it now. And honestly, it was great because that's exactly how it happened. I already knew my skill set. That's the other thing, is like, don't just decide and then say, okay, I'm going to go all in. Like, take the time to really know what you're doing, because it'll make everything else happen so much faster. So if you can learn on someone else's dime in certain ways, like I got great experience at the positions that I was in. I wasn't making a crazy amount of money, but the experience that I gained from those positions, it still directly impacts what I do today. So I'm so thankful that I didn't try and do it too soon, in all honesty. Like, I think I got what I needed to really be very good at what I was doing. And then I knew, okay, it's time to go all in. But like you said, you don't have to wait until that happens to start putting yourself out there, because you can have a job and still be freelancing. That's what I was doing. I was taking on whatever work I could to earn extra money, to get testimonials, to get case studies, all of these things, so that when I did go full time, everything else happened so much faster.
that's awesome. And it kind of sounds like, since you were doing all these things, you said that you were zapping together like 12 apps, that High Level was just like the tool that would simplify that for you,
Yes,
for your new journey. How would you find High
absolutely.
Level?
Just word of mouth. Somebody that was in a coaching program I was in had learned about it. This was like very early days of High Level. And they're like, you should check it out, because one of my biggest challenges at the time was, again, my clients were not following up with their leads. People were calling and communicating. So like similar experience to what I had when I was doing this system at my previous employer, I was seeing the responses from people like, hey, I'm trying to call, nobody's picking up the phone, or I'm trying to schedule. They also didn't have a calendar system that would allow them to get those book calls or get those booked appointments. I mean, that by far is, like, to me, one of the simplest ways for a business to get more from whatever it is they're already doing. I am constantly shocked at how many businesses don't let anybody self-schedule a call or appointment. And if you can do that, then number one, you're able to, at least as a marketer, say, hey, look, these people are really interested. They scheduled a time to talk to you, or they scheduled the appointment you want them to schedule. But on top of that, it just reduces the amount of people you have to follow up with in general, because those people have already, blocked out a certain time to speak with you. So the calendar booking issue was a problem, particularly because, like, again, we were using Calendly and all these other things. And it was just, as an outside agency, it was hard for me to set those things up in their business when I wasn't a part of their business, and convince them that, hey, you need all these different programs and we're going to, it was just a challenge. So the follow-up aspect of High Level was what most excited me. The transparency between me being able to see the texts that were coming in, the email responses that were coming in, the messages, being able to see if they were doing outbound calls to the leads, and the ability to incorporate the booking system. So I obviously saw so much more than that once I started using it. And immediately after I immersed myself in it, my other favorite thing was snapshots. Like, that was the single best solution for what I needed. It was the ability to replicate myself, because before that, like I said, it didn't matter how many templates or how many, share zaps or whatever I had. It was still a process to set it up. And that meant that there was a lot of room for error. If one thing was done incorrectly, it could throw off a lot. And it was a lot for me to have to check through, even if somebody else was setting it up. So being able to take the accounts that I was building out and clone them for my next client and my next client and my next client not only saved me so much time, but it really improved results, because I didn't have to double, triple check every single thing. If I knew that I got it right the first time, I knew that it was also going to work that same way the next time. So that is really the start of my journey. And since then, I have never been happier that I made that switch and that I doubled down on learning everything that I could about High Level, because over the years, it has changed and evolved and grown so much. And if I was getting into it now, it would probably be a little bit more overwhelming, just because it does so much. But even then, it did quite a bit. It's one of those things where, take the pieces that are most applicable to what you're doing right now, that can help you the most right now, start using them. And then you're going to slowly start to see those opportunities of other ways that you can leverage it in your business. And I feel like that's one thing that overwhelms people way too much, is they get into it and they're like, I have to use everything. You don't have to use everything, not at the beginning, at least. It becomes easier and easier if you do use things that are native in High Level, but definitely just pick those things that will solve your biggest problem right now. Focus on those first, and then expand from there.
I love that. I think that you've been with High Level for so long that the features that you were focusing on, I was like, these are the core features. These are the core features, and everything else that we've added since then are super necessary for a lot of people's businesses, but they're not necessary in terms of texting, emailing, calling with your clients, which is the age-old problem that every agency owner just is continually facing.
Absolutely.
And you're obviously super excited about High Level. You obviously love the tech, but when did you decide to start pushing it as an affiliate?
The thing is, and I think we talked about this when we were in San Diego, is I never had any intention of being an affiliate marketer. That was not anything I really knew much about. I got the general concept, but that was never a part of my game plan. That was never something that I set out to do. I really loved High Level. It just turns out that I love this program so much. And then as time went on, I ended up launching a group coaching program. So I had a coach that I was with at the time who kind of saw all these opportunities from other marketers and agency owners that were reaching out to me for advice and help and all this stuff. I had nothing to offer them. Nothing that I had created was designed for the marketer and agency. And, I had just personally been able to grow a lot in a relatively short period of time. And he said, look, I think you should launch a coaching program that would give you the ability to serve a different market. The people who either are not the right fit for agency work, which there's a ton of local businesses out there that should not be spending a lot of money on an agency yet. It's just not right for them. That was my core market. But then have the ability to also work with marketers and agency owners who wanted these same things. And that's what I've really realized so much is like, the local businesses that I work with and the agencies that I work with, they literally both want the same thing. They want to systemize their lead generation, get more leads. They want to get more bookings. They want to make more sales. They want to simplify the operations and the management of their business. That's it. And so I was able to really wrap both of those groups into this one program. And through that, I'm teaching them how to set up and launch their social marketing system. That's going to be their ads and their ad strategy and their offer strategy, their funnels, their emails, their follow-ups, their automations, like everything that they needed to set up this system. And again, I'd been using like 7 to 10 programs to do that prior to discovering High Level. And it just so happened that I learned about High Level and really started to move forward with it pretty quickly before, I guess it was before my first group coaching launch, or maybe it was my second one. But basically, I'm like, this is not just a game changer for me. This is a game changer for the people who are trying to learn from me, because I can give you my shares apps and all my templates and my flows, but you still have to put in a lot of effort to get those in there. And again, a lot of room for error, particularly people who are not marketing focused necessarily. Even the agency owners, it was still a struggle for them. And so I was like, this is great. Now I can just show them a system that's going to help them do all of this stuff. And I can create snapshots for them. So I can give them my systems and they can move so much faster and they can make sure that it's done right the first time, because I don't care how much direction I give certain people on certain things. They are not built for doing it quickly, or it's just not natural to them. And those people still deserve online success in their business. And so how can I just make this easier for them and do something that comes super naturally to me, that I'm able to do very well, and then just share those things with them so that they can get the result faster. And that's when I started talking about High Level to the people that I was working with. That was several years ago now. And from there, it's only grown. So again, as I saw the ability to help people through this system, I, number one, just talk to people about it. In my daily life, anytime the opportunity arises, it's like, I wanted to tell people about something that would help them more than anything. Like that was really, again, being an affiliate was not even a thought to me at the time. Probably those early people that I worked with probably didn't even share my affiliate link with them. I didn't even really know that there was an affiliate link to be shared. I was just telling people about it and utilizing it in the programs that I was running. And if anybody would ask me what I'm using for certain things, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to encourage them to check it out. Then as time went on, my program kept growing and growing and more people came in it. And then it became a really foundational part of my program, because again, all of the systems that I have are set up in High Level. I have, a dozen business model specific or industry specific snapshots and systems. I've got a dozen or more strategy specific snapshots. I've got a dozen or more functionality specific snapshots. So all these things that I kept building as a result of working with so many different types of businesses, I now have them for the future. So I loved it because it let me leverage my time so much more, and then I just loved it for them because it helped them get the result that they wanted so much faster. And also just actually getting that result. I mean, if you do a couple of things wrong, sometimes it can throw off a lot. So being able to make sure that they had all of those pieces in place. So again, really just became something that I talked to my clients about, I talked to my students about. And then eventually I saw how many people who were already using high level, they wanted better help on that. They wanted help like building out their accounts and being able to better leverage that. So I ended up creating the Ultimate High Level Masterclass, started driving ads to it. That's something that, a lot of people who are already using high level will purchase it, but then it also introduces it to a lot of people who've never heard of high level. And through that, my affiliate links are in there to get the different snapshots that I'm providing to them. And so that just has been kind of a natural progression. But I do think it's one of those things where, I had used a lot of other platforms and programs before that. I never really cared about, being an affiliate, and it was never a priority to me. But I think when you get really excited about something and you really love using it personally, and it can actually really help people, it's only natural to want to tell the world. And I think that's also something that people can feel too, is like, if you're just pushing something just for the sake of pushing it, it's not going to have the same impact as if you truly use something and you truly love something and you're doing it for the right reasons. But High Level has such a great affiliate commission structure that it's like, it's a win-win for everybody,
Yeah, no, I love that, because for anyone who doesn't use snapshots, when you share a snapshot, so copy paste of everything in a high level location with someone who doesn't have high level, we give you an affiliate credit automatically, because they wouldn't have signed up if it wasn't for you and if it wasn't for them wanting this system. And so as you were explaining everything, like one question I've always had is, I feel like out of all of our affiliates that are still running their own business, that are doing coaching, that are a speaker, and that are doing the affiliate side really strong, you're one of the affiliates that do it the absolute best in terms of everybody that's interested in your stuff still goes to one spot, whereas a lot of people try to bifurcate the two. But it makes sense if you just help people with the issue that everyone has, which is making money online and trying to figure out how to get their dang people on their team to respond to all of these leads and how to automate that. And then you just ask them who they are on the back end. Like, that's so smart. And it makes total sense with everything else that you're doing. So that's really cool to hear and see.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I feel like there's so much more I could be doing on the affiliate side, truthfully, if I really said, okay, this is the part of my business that I want to grow. I see a lot of people out there doing some cool stuff, but more than anything, like people who are looking for someone to get on their affiliate link, they are like shopping around, they are looking to see who's going to make it easier for me, because there is a good percentage of people who they know about high level, they're researching high level, they have not pulled the plug yet and made that switch, but they do want to know who's the person that's going to be able to help me get up and running faster. So the ability to identify, I think, who's the type of person that you really can best serve or want to work with, creating a snapshot that actually does exactly what that type of business needs and is already customized to that type of business, I think is probably one of the easiest ways to do it, because a lot of businesses feel like if it's not made for their industry, that it won't work for them. And that's something that I hear all the time, because I do work with so many different types of industries. And the truth is, the core components are all the same. They really are. If you're in a service-based business in particular, like e-commerce, there, it is a separate thing. But if you are in a service-based business, they just need a lead generation system. They just need a way to book calls and book appointments. They just need a great, follow-up nurture, and they need the automations that will help them in their business. So for example, I've got real estate and mortgage snapshots that look quite different than some of my other snapshots in terms of the process. We've got detailed like conversational pre-qualification, the ability for people to upload certain documents and, to do things that are more based on that business process, less on the lead generation side in some of them, because again, there's a certain number of strategies. And if you find the right strategy for your business, like that system could work for 100 different industries. But a lot of people come because they want to systemize things on the back end, So I would say, like, ask yourself, do you want to focus on helping people on the lead generation side, or do you want to help people more on like the systemization and automation side? Sometimes people want both. I'd say in general, people always want both. But there are people that they want one of them first. So I have, kind of like a third, and a third in terms of the people we identify that we work with. So the first group is they need more leads. Like they know they can't sell if they don't have more leads. Okay, great. That's like the lead generation strategy snapshots that are going to be the best fit for them to start with. Then we've got people who they get leads, but they're not getting bookings. They're not converting them into clients very well. So that's where a really good like lead conversion system, lead conversion snapshot is going to come into play. Then we have people that they've got leads, they've got bookings, their team is growing, their business is growing, but they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off because they've got all these things in so many different places. So they need more of the back end automation side. So I do think, just like with anything, if you really identify who it is you want to serve, and you create that solution for them, and high level gives you the ability to create that solution one time and then profit from it repeatedly, you're going to be able to like better communicate the value of somebody getting on your affiliate link, getting that snapshot. Because I really don't know of a better way to get an affiliate than to give them a snapshot. It's like, that is the single best thing you could ever do for somebody. And in particular, if they are the type of person that is a good fit for what you have, they're going to be eternally grateful. And they're either going to dive deeper into the system. Maybe they get set up on SaaS in the future and you get even higher referral commissions or affiliate commissions. Or they tell more and more people about it and you can continue to grow through word of mouth. If you have other services to offer on the back end, that person's also going to be far more likely to go with you for something because you've already helped them with a major problem in their business. So there's, I think a lot of people too think that a snapshot has to be like this massive thing. It doesn't. It can be one piece of a problem. If it's a big problem to somebody, they really want that piece, then that's all you really need. I mean, you could do, if you're an email marketing person, you could do a snapshot that just has like a ton of different email templates for ongoing email marketing and has some email marketing automations that will help people better identify their hot prospects and make sure that people are being segmented into the right campaign based on their interest. And so it's like whatever it is that you're good at or that you even have interest in, maybe you're not even good at it yet, but you want to be good at it. Just find what that thing is instead of trying to be like everything to everyone. Try and be something significant to a certain type of person. And then you can find those communities that are for that certain type of person, or you can, go to conferences, you can get into groups where those people are already congregating and you're just going to, be able to grow a lot faster because, there are a lot of really experienced affiliate marketers out there who they've got, some good stuff for what I would say like is the general business type. And they've been doing it for a while and that could be working really well for them. But I do feel like if you're trying to get started in it, the riches are in the niches. Like they really are with affiliate marketing or with anything, but you can take that first one, find success, figure out your process, then, launch it for a different industry or a different type of business or a different problem that you can solve. So yeah, I just think like support is definitely something people want, but snapshots more than anything else is like, what can you give them to help them make the switch faster? And I guess, if somebody is doing affiliate, another thing I would say is people, they really need help importing their contacts from their previous systems. I know this is like a little thing, but you just have to think like if these businesses decide to move to high level, if they're doing nothing prior, like if they're keeping their leads in a spreadsheet, great. That's, it's actually easier for those people if they had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had something, if they were using, Infusionsoft or Klaviyo or Zoho or any of these other CRMs or automations platforms, they might be really confused on how to take what they've already got and import it into high level without losing the data and making sure that it's organized in the way that they need it to. Like, there is a strategy behind importing your contacts correctly so that you're not going back and doing a ton of rework to categorize people and tag people and do all this stuff. So, I feel like that is a great solution that an affiliate marketer could get really good at. It's just like learning the different strategies of helping people import their contacts. And that would be a great add-on, in my opinion, because I have seen how many businesses really need it. And it can also screw things up quite a bit if you do it incorrectly and then you don't know how to go back and redo that after the fact, or you delete everything and you try and start again and it wastes a lot of time. So those are the things I feel like people really need help with, in particular if you're not offering services on the back end. But if you are, I mean, there's no better way to get people really hooked on what you can do for them than providing them something great in their account and then saying, hey, if you liked that, then I can also help you with X, Y, and Z. And there's a feature in high level that relates to like every type of marketing. So whatever it is, you can always tie your services back to that.
That's amazing. You just dropped like the A to Z template of how to get from like 0 to 10 affiliate customers easily without any additional team members. Like I can't. That's so awesome, Allie. I think that the question that people usually ask with snapshots in particular is, okay, yeah, but I give my client this link, and then what? Do I walk them through it? Do you have a video? Do you have a course? Like, how do you help people get through their first snapshots? Because even if you give them all the tools, sometimes people just stare at it.
Oh, definitely. So you absolutely need a video on how to load a snapshot. Everyone thinks you click the link and it's done, and that's absolutely not it. So if you think about it, if that was the case, then any link you click was going to automatically populate things into your account, and that would be a nightmare. So just show them, you click the link. If you don't have an account, you're going to come to the screen. Here's how you're going to fill it out. Then you're going to set up your sub account. Now we need to actually load it to the sub account. So the video absolutely is really important, but depending on what you're doing, you can walk people through that as well. So if you have time on your hands and you're really focused on trying to get more and more affiliates, absolutely offer to walk people through the initial setup, load in their snapshot, give them a general overview of the features, give them a checklist of their first 10 things to do to start integrating this into their business. Because you may not be a full-blown digital agency or feel like you can support people in a lot of different types of digital marketing, but you can still learn the basics of using high level. You can still learn the basics of those foundational features that we talked about, like the pipelines. Okay. Another big thing that people mess up on is it's set to only show open leads, maybe, but they're looking for all of their leads. Just show them the basic drop downs in the opportunities tab, show them the way to upload their contacts. So again, you can get people into it, like not just clicking on it, but actually into it. They're going to have a far better chance of staying on it. And you're only going to get that recurring commission if people actually stay on it. So you do want to do whatever is in your power to support them in those initial steps so that they will actually see the power of the program and continue. So I think absolutely getting on with them, offering that one-on-one support is great. If you are starting to grow and you don't have time to do everything one-on-one, do a couple of calls a week, for people that need help. You could do one call a week if you need to, but I would still have onboarding videos that just show people those next steps. So, so many different levels that you can provide. I mean, I would say a huge percentage of the people I work with, they have my courses or they work with me in coaching or in my mastermind. So if they have a challenge, like I'm there to help them with it, but the right initial videos can go a long way. And I even have surveys that when somebody wants a snapshot, they start to fill it out. and it says, have you watched the video on how to load a snapshot? Yes or no. If they click no, it disqualifies them from the survey and says, hold up, here's a screenshot of where the video is. Go watch this video, then come back and try again. Because if you don't, you're just going to reach out to me for questions. You're just going to reach out to support, or ask about how to load this. You're going to be confused. So actually forcing people to watch that video can be super, super helpful. And then they go ahead and submit the survey, and it'll redirect them to the snapshot link of the appropriate snapshot. We also tell them, make sure you're logged into your account. If you already have an account, that's going to make the process faster. So just doing things that will make sure that people have watched that before they move forward will help you a lot on the support side. And then I think just utilizing High Level itself with the text and email templates, create templates for any of the frequently asked questions that you're getting, or create a really strong initial drip after somebody, comes in for your affiliate offer that will walk them through some of those frequently asked questions or initial pieces that they need to do so that your time can be better maximized. I mean, in-person support's always huge, but so much of this, you don't have to have a person to solve it. You just need somebody to tell you where to go and what to do. So just start to document whatever you can early on. I think that's another thing I always tried to focus on was whatever I'm doing right now, I probably am going to use this in the future. If it works, obviously. If something doesn't work, we don't need to save it. But anything that I'm doing, how can I take this and save this and make sure that this is stored in a way that I can share this with somebody else if they need it? So again, if you're great at email marketing, start to put your emails in those campaigns or those templates for other people. Start to put custom values in the emails to make it easier. If you're great at organic social media, start to put your own post in the social scheduler. Whatever it is that you feel like you have a talent for, just start making sure that everything you do goes in. I have a template account where it's all my stuff, or at least all of the stuff I used to have that I didn't build out in High Level originally. So I've got dozens of funnels and dozens of automations and emails and all these things. And then as I need it, I'll be like, okay, we're going to plug this into a sub account and make it its own snapshot. And we just do it based on need. I'm not going back and trying to do all this stuff before I know someone needs it. You wait and see what the market is asking for. And then you take the time to set these things up in a way that is just going to, again, give them better results, but leverage your time the most.
I love that. It's the skateboard model, right? Do just what people need to get from A to B. And when you need more, give them more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that you do a great job of front loading your clients with a ton of support. I think over here on the High Level side, what people don't realize is that if you just talk to people in their first 14 days, and if they log into High Level X amount of times, their stickiness just skyrockets. And it's the same with clients. It's the same with affiliates, because people just feel supported. They have a great foundation. They start to know to click the blue question mark when they need help, stuff like that. So I love that you dove into that and you provided a ton of value on growing affiliates, growing your business, how to transition into the entrepreneurial space and everything. Absolutely riveting. This is why you're a speaker.
I appreciate it.
Of course. That being said, we are coming up towards the end. Is there any last things that you want to say for the aspiring agency owner, entrepreneur, affiliate?
Yeah. So number one, it's so worth it. Whatever work that you're putting in now, it is worth it. And you can absolutely succeed with it. It can be hard sometimes, and you feel like maybe you are grinding and you're not necessarily seeing all the fruits of your labor just yet. But if you stay the course, if you listen to people who've done what you want to do and you follow proven processes, it will be so much easier. I also think, if you're listening, you're obviously interested in the affiliate side, and everybody's so hyped up with SaaS and things like that, which SaaS can be great in its own way too, but there really isn't anything easier than being an affiliate. with high level. Like your workload is so significantly less being an affiliate. And so that is, it's not something where you have to be like, should I be doing affiliate or should I move into SaaS? I think affiliate is great. And if you really want to get even bigger commissions, like focus on people who have the opportunity to do SaaS themselves, people who have audiences that they are just not able to leverage with their current platform stack. So sometimes it's like quality rather than quantity, because those can be huge in terms of the affiliate commission, especially if they upgrade to SaaS and then being able to get recurring commissions on what they're doing. So I think that, again, just be encouraged, and follow the best practices from people who've done it before, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like you can do is just pick your niche, pick your solution, and then go all in. And eventually it's going to be a dream come true. I can promise you that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Allie. Always enjoy it.
Yes. Great chatting with you. All
Okay. Till next time.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.